What's going on there, YouTube, and welcome back to another comic book review. This is the channel where we sit down and cover different comic book stories from Marvel, DC, and even IDW as well. Except this time we are going to jump back over to DC Comics, and this time we're going to continue our coverage over the Green Lanterns in the DC Rebirth era. And we're going to jump back over to the Green Lantern series, where we pick up with Simon Bass and Jessica Cruz trying to take on Dr. Polaris, a villain who has the ability to control metal like Magneto in Marvel Comics. And this character is going to give the young Green Lanterns an actual challenge. And so guys, if you do like today's video, please leave me a like down below and also subscribe to the channel for more content to come in the near future. But I do hope you enjoy today's video. To begin this story, we pick up with Neil Emerson, who is going to be the main bad guy of this book. But we learn a little bit about his origin right here in these opening pages. We learn that he was a doctor who was trying to find a new cure for cancer, finding a way to use magnets to kill cancer in different parts of the body. Now, after years of trying to find a cure for cancer by using magnets, of course, he gained powers from his experiment, which of course gave him the ability to control metal. Now, once he gained the powers and word got out about him trying to find a cure for cancer, you had the medical board and all forms of media start to attack Neil Emerson, calling him a fraud and other names. To the point, his own family believed that he was a fraud, except his brother. And with all of that happening, he gained a dark personality, which of course was Dr. Polaris. And he is trying to keep that personality locked away. Something else to point out is that his brother has cancer, and so his goal is to use his idea to beat the cancer and help his brother. Now, we do pick up with Simon Bass, one of the two Green Lanterns of this title, but we pick up with him talking to his best friend Nazar, who is also his brother-in-law as well. The thing is though, we see that Nazar is upset with the idea that Simon and him are not close anymore, that they are not acting like partners anymore. Remember, before Simon got the ring, he used to be a criminal, and Nazar was also his partner in crime. Except when Simon became a Green Lantern, everything changed, and now Jessica is Simon's partner. And so Nazar is upset with the idea of being on the sideline. But you do have Jessica Cruz come in and take Simon away for their next mission. This is where we pick up with Neil Emerson again. Except this time we see him meeting up with someone who has pills that could help him control his Dr. Polaris personality. Now, when he thinks this is going to be a simple transaction, we see this man is working for Amelia Harcourt, who at this point in DC Rebirth, she was controlling Task Force X, aka the Suicide Squad, but she formed a team to go capture Dr. Polaris to bring him into Task Force X. And she tells him how this team of soldiers is using everything plastic and their body is clear of any kind of metal. Except this man can control metal. So long as there is any kind of metal around him, he can use it as a weapon. And so he starts using nails in the building, doorknobs, almost anything he can sense in the room that is metal to use against this team, which we learn through the eyes of Amelia Harcourt that her whole team is taken out by Dr. Polaris. Now remember, Neil came here for pills to help him control his dark side, but he never got the pills. And so right now, we'll begin the process of him slipping into his dark personality, Dr. Polaris. Now, of course, you have Amelia Harcourt call in the Green Lanterns, and this is how the Green Lanterns get involved with dealing with Dr. Polaris, where you have Amelia tell the Lanterns that they need to find him because if he is left out there, he will get stronger and stronger over time. Sooner or later, he is going to fall full into his dark personality. And so you have the Green Lanterns leave and try to find him. And they think where he would be at, and they both got the idea from Amelia about how Neil Emerson's brother is in a hospital right now for cancer treatment. And so of course, Neil must be there to see his brother. Now the Lanterns do go to a nearby hospital, except when they get there, you have Simon start having flashbacks when his best friend Nazar was in the hospital, where we are reminded that Nazar was in a coma. Except when Simon gained the powers of a Green Lantern, he was able to use his ring to bring Nazar out of his coma. Now, after the flashbacks, the Lanterns did find Neil Emerson arguing with the doctor about the cancer treatment they were trying to give to his brother. Of course, this leads to the Lanterns trying to stop Neil. But of course, you have Neil remind the Lanterns that he can control any kind of metal around him, including the metal filling inside Simon's head. And so this leads to a battle between the two Lanterns and Dr. Polaris. Now the Green Lanterns are still technically rookies when it comes to fighting. And so now dealing with someone who can really be a challenge even for Superman gives them a hard time. And you have Dr. Polaris actually grab a bunch of cards and wrap the cards around the Lanterns, trapping them inside a ball-shaped object made out of cards, and then throws them deep into the ocean. Now, of course, we see the Green Lanterns trying to break out of this trap that Dr. Polaris made. But we see that Simon Baz is freaking out because he's afraid of dying, except Jessica Cruz is not. She is actually calm. And this is another step in her character development. Remember that Jessica battles with anxiety, but we see her actually being able to fight through the point she is able to break her and Simon out of the trap and they are free, showing that she is getting better with her ring as well. But they do continue to look for Dr. Polaris. But we learn that while the Green Lanterns were trapped down underwater, Dr. Polaris took his brother out of the hospital because he believes that with his medical skills, he can cure his brother Seth's cancer. Except this is where we learn that Neil does not just fight the Dr. Polaris personality in his head all the time. Occasionally, sometimes his brother appears in his head as well. And this is showing us that Neil has this battle between good and evil in his head. Seth represents the good and trying to keep him calm and keep him working on his cure for cancer. Stop being Dr. Polaris. Except on the other end, you have Dr. Polaris representing evil and wanting Neil to become Dr. Polaris and kill the Green Lanterns and get revenge against the people who ruined his life. But while Dr. Polaris is dealing with his split personalities, we see the Green Lanterns trying to locate Dr. Polaris, where we see them use Cyborg, who is at the Justice League Watchtower, as they work together to locate Dr. Polaris somewhere in the city. But this is where we see Simon kind of feeling bad for Neil, who is Dr. Polaris. Reason why is because Neil is doing all of this to save his brother. And remember, Simon was in the same position somewhat, wanting to save Nazar, his best friend. But the story shifts over to Mogo, where we pick up with John Stewart, which if you remember, John Stewart is the leader of the Green Lanterns, where John Stewart is talking to the two Lanterns who are in one of our previous videos, where they came to Earth to check up on Simon and Jessica, but when they arrived, they found out about Rami. And so here they are telling John Stewart what they found on Earth, which was Rami, a guardian John and the other Lanterns never heard about before. And so you have John ask Ganthet and Sade about Rami, and they tell him how Rami made the first Green Lantern rings, but he cannot be trusted. And this is where you have John tell his other Lanterns that it is time for Simon and Jessica to get special training. Now getting back to Earth, we see the Lanterns have finally found Dr. Polaris and are hoping to finally bring him in. Except when they go to confront him, we see that he has fallen into his dark personality. He put on the Dr. Polaris outfit and now he is ready to battle the Green Lanterns. Except while they do battle, this leads to a big moment in the book. Dr. Polaris' brother begins to flatline, and this makes everyone stop what they were doing and now focusing on what to do to save Dr. Polaris' brother. This leads to the moment where you have Dr. Polaris use his powers to protect himself from the lanterns. Actually, it's him beating down on them. Except this is the moment where you have Dr. Polaris try to use his powers of magnetism as a way to cure Seth's cancer. Remember, his whole concept of his cure for cancer is around magnets. And so you have him trying to use his powers hoping he can save his brother's life before he dies. Except everything he tries just fails. And this breaks him because he truly believes that he had something that could have worked. And so he is angry for it not working. But you have Simon tell Dr. Polaris that he can help because he has emerald sight. Remember, in our earlier videos, we saw Simon Baz use something called emerald sight, which gives him the ability to cure someone of something. And he was able to cure Blease from being a Red Lantern, and also the fact that he was able to bring Nazar out of his coma. And so you have Simon believe that he can do the same thing for Dr. Polaris' brother, but it does not work. His emerald sight does not turn on to save Seth's life. And so Seth dies right there in the bed in front of everyone. But this leads to a big moment where you have Dr. Polaris walk away from the lanterns, and they try to capture him, but they're unable to stop him. He is just too strong for them. But he walks outside, and you have the lanterns following him outside, hoping to come up with a new plan to stop him. Except we see that Dr. Polaris gave something for the lanterns to deal with as he slips away. We see that Dr. Polaris begins the process to bring down the Justice League Watchtower to crash into the Earth. And so you have the Green Lanterns and Cyborg work together to stop the Watchtower before it crashes into the Earth and basically cause massive damage. Now this is another big challenge for the young Green Lanterns because they have to push the Watchtower back into space by themselves really. The other League members cannot come to help, which to me, I feel like this is something big enough for the other heroes to stop what they are doing and come help. But this is showing that the Lanterns are getting better with their ring and their constructs are getting better. At the end of the day, they were able to push the tower back into space. Now the story ends with us knowing that Dr. Polaris was able to escape while the Lanterns were dealing with the Watchtower situation. Except this leads to the moment where you have the Lanterns get a call from home base back on Mogo, where you have John Stewart telling the Lanterns that it is time for them to get their special training, where John is able to override their rings and make them fly back home to Mogo for their training. And this is where we are going to end today's video. And so guys, please leave me a like down below and also subscribe to the channel for more content to come in the near future. Also, any suggestions on books I should read? Well, please let me know in the comments below because you never know, your suggestion could be a future video down the road. But guys, I'm out of here and I will see you on the next comic book video. Later, guys.